What's up, everyone? It's Dr. Andrew. Today I really want to talk about our posture when we're sitting and then when we're bending over to pick things up off the ground, or just when we're flexing our back and bending over just in everyday life. These are two extremely important areas of our life that we do all the time. We're either sitting or we're flexing the spine throughout the day. Studies have shown that we flex our spine more than 3,000 times a day. 3,000 times we're flexing over like this and bending forwards. How many times, though, do we actually bend backwards? Not very many. But that is extremely important because the lumbar spine has natural extension. So extension is backwards, and then flexion is right here forwards. So the spine, the lumbar spine especially, is in a natural state of a little bit of extension. Okay, there's that curve right here in the low back. And we got to maintain that curve, okay? Because if our back flattens out over time, that's going to cause tons of issues later on. So what's happening? We're doing a lot of flexion during the day, tons of flexion, okay? So how can we do that properly? What's a good way to bend forward and avoid pain in the back? Well, you can check out another video I made about glute activation, which is the muscles in the bottom, but that's just it. Like, you have to activate your glute muscles when you're bending over, and you have to maintain your spine in its natural position. Okay, so what does that look like when we bend over to rinse our mouth out after brushing our teeth? Don't bend over like this from your back. Okay, don't bend from the back to get the water. You got to poke your bottom out. Okay, poke the bottom out and keep your back in that natural position. I literally do this every time I brush my teeth. I do this every time I bend over to pick something up, because I know that if I don't contract my glute muscles, my back is going to hurt. They say lift with your legs, not your back. That's exactly what they mean. But not only lifting, but literally bending. Bend using your glutes and your legs, and don't bend at the back. Stop bending and stop flexing your lumbar spine to pick something up off the ground, to get water from the sink, all the time when we're flexing, to literally lean over and give something to your child. Stop bending from the back and bend from the hips and contract your glutes. Because two things will happen. One, your glutes will get stronger. Well, actually, more than two things will happen. One, your glutes will get stronger. You might get better looking glutes, because a lot of you have a flat bottom and you don't like that. So actually use your glutes, and then and then the third thing is you'll avoid back pain. So a lot of things will come, a lot of good things will come from you just activating your glutes to do simple bending over motions. So stop flexing your spine when you're bending over and start bending from the hips and using your glutes to do those things. So the next thing we're going to look at is sitting posture. We sit a lot during the day, and if you're not sitting correctly, then you will have low back pain. You may have a hernia issue, and then you're going to have that tingling and numbness going down the legs. Okay, so let's look at sitting on a stool and in a regular chair. What's happening? All right, so I'm going to sit on a stool. This is how a lot of us sit on stools, correct? First of all, my neck posture is horrible. My thoracic posture is not very good. And look what's happening at the lumbar spine. Okay, look at that flexion right here. So remember, this video is all about flexion in terms of how we do too much flexion, and we need to avoid that, especially with the lumbar spine. So in order to avoid this flexion right here of the lumbar spine, you have to sit up with a little bit better posture. I know it can be a little uncomfortable, okay, but it's going to save you in the long run. So instead of sitting like this and letting that bony part of your bottom right here is called the ischial tuberosity. This is what you should be sitting on, okay? You don't want to sit on this part of your bottom. You sit on the underside of your bottom. So if you find yourself kind of sitting back like this, and you're sitting on like the really squishy part of your bottom, then you should tilt your pelvis up like this, get some more extension in your low back, and now you're sitting on the actual ischial tuberosity, okay? This right here is going to be so much better for your back, especially if you're sitting here for a long period of time. All right, so now we're going to look at a normal chair. So normal chairs that we sit in during the day are not going to have good lumbar support, okay? All your chairs are going to be like this, okay? Your bottom area and then the back area. And look at this right here. Look at all that flexion that is going to be putting your back in. There's no support here, so your low back that needs to be like this is going to cave backwards into the back of the chair, okay? And that is going to be horrible. So what can we do? So I'm going to sit in it like without any lumbar support. Okay, so first of all, if you do want to have like semi-good posture without adding anything, then you can sit as far back in the chair as you can. Okay, so now with your back against the back support here, this actually feels fairly decent. Okay, I know that there's still a little bit of a gap here, but I'm sitting on the ischial tuberosities. Again, if you want to find them, you just put your hand right under here, and it's that bony area, and you got one on each side. Okay, so you want to sit so that you're feeling that bony part on the actual seat. You don't want to sit like this. We call this sacral sitting. Okay, your sacrum is this part right here of your spine. Okay, and when this part right here is what you're sitting on, like this is what everybody does in church, in the office, literally everywhere. Look around in church next Sunday, and you'll see everybody sitting like this. Everybody is sitting on their sacrum, and they're sitting on the glute muscles. Okay, and look what's happening to my low back. It is just boom, falling like this. And that is tons and tons of flexion of my lumbar spine. And remember, we don't like lots of flexion of the lumbar spine. We got to keep some of that extension. So what do we have to do to correct that? Well, first of all, sit up taller. Okay, bring your bottom back more. All right, and now sit up taller. Keep your feet on the ground in front of you. Don't let them come way out here in front. Okay, sit up taller. Sit on your ischial tuberosities. Okay, and this right here, already this is going to be so much better for your back, because now you're not in so much flexion, you're in a little bit more extension. Okay, but what you really need to do is put something behind there. Okay, you can grab a pillow, you can grab your jacket, roll up anything, put diapers back there. I don't care what you do, just put something behind your back so that you're going to be in a little bit more extension of the lumbar spine. This right here is going to help you so much more than if you were sitting like this in church. Okay? Please stop doing this, especially if you're having tingling down the legs, if you're having pain in the back. Stop sitting like this. Okay, so to wrap up all of this, when we're bending, bend from the hips, squeeze the glutes, don't flex the spine. Okay? And then second, when we're sitting, sit on your ischial tuberosity. Remember that bony area right here. Sit on that. That is literally what it's made for. Sit on that when you're sitting. Don't sit on your sacrum and on the squishy part of your bottom, because that puts your back into more flexion, and we don't like that. We want extension of the lumbar spine. Okay? So sit on your ischial tuberosities and add some lumbar support in the low back so that you can keep some of that extension. All right, that's it for today. If you have a question, please leave a comment. I'd love to talk about this stuff, and I would love to help you out more. And please subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you on the next video.